Welcome to welcome to the debut episode of Totally Naked Movie Reviews. I guess there is one thing I do need to address, just need to brief you on, is that once again I have changed the format of my movie reviews. Now I tried other things like movie reviews in 10 words or less, and movie reviews in 1 minute or less, and they never worked out. People just weren't watching them. So, I guess the problem you could say was, I'm guessing they were too short. Well, you know what? Now things are going to be longer. I'm going to be talking more, and sure, that's going to make it harder. But you know what? I'm just going to plow through. And as the title states, it's Totally Naked Movie Reviews. I'm just going to kind of strip the movie down, give you the bare facts of what I liked and didn't like. Just I should warn you though, you are going to be exposed to some spoilers here and there. But basically, I'm just going to give you a simple movie review. Okay, so let's get started with a review for X-Men Apocalypse. Now, it is kind of a bummer, a little bit of a letdown. My first video on Totally Naked Movie Reviews is on a movie I didn't like. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to throw it on the table. I really didn't like this film. For me, I didn't really hate it. I was just so bored with this film. I couldn't connect with it. I didn't enjoy it. So boring. I think the biggest two reasons were basically the pacing was just way too fast. And everything was just underdeveloped. All the characters, all the plot lines, underdeveloped. So we'll start with the pacing. And the pacing in this movie was just like that. Just one scene after another. And with the storylines, it's like, I'll give you an example. I'm going to pick one of the storylines they had. Once again, you're going to be exposed to some spoilers here. And that was the rise of Apocalypse. So in the beginning, we see ancient Egypt. We get this little voiceover telling about how the mutants back in the day would have been viewed as gods. And of course, that's Apocalypse. You see him in ancient Egypt. He's going through it, and everyone's like, ooh, audible soon. They're all worshiping him. Except there's some disconnect. There's some people who don't want to worship him. And what's going on is he's going through this ceremony where he's going to drain this one guy's blood, transfer it into a new body, and these insurgents attack, and they fuck his plan up. They just mess his day up. I gotta say, the beginning was very exciting. It was pretty, it actually benefited from that fast pace. And then, of course, he's entombed there for years. Some cult who just kind of pop up, and they're like, oh, let's worship him, and then all of a sudden, comes back to life, and they take off. You never hear about this, cult that worships Apocalypse ever again. So he shows up, he looks around, he's like, oh, I'm in the future, I guess. He meets the young Storm, kills a few people, then he hops on the TV and absorbs all the information, and then he's out finding more horsemen. He gets Psylocke, and then he gets Angel, and eventually he gets Magneto. And once again, the pacing on that is like, he doesn't really give any reason why he wants to get Storm, Psylocke, or Angel. He just picks them at random, and Magneto is the only one who's like, you know what? I've seen you on the TV. You're a big-time mutant. Anyway, after that, they find out that Charles is trying to use his mind thing to find Magneto. Apocalypse goes through it and realizes, holy shit, I gotta get this guy because he can connect with everyone across the world. So he does that. He kidnaps Professor X, and he's trying to convince him, and he's like, you know what? Let's just get this shit started. And he does his old magic thing, and Cairo starts disappearing, and then he's got Magneto under his control, so Magneto starts moving the earth, and all the magnetism, cities are disappearing. Then the X-Men show up, and they just beat the shit out of him. I mean, there's, some drama as to how they're going to take him down, but in the end, they just take care of him. And it's like, that's how fast it went. And that is with all the stories. That's how it is with Cyclops meeting Jean Grey and kind of falling in love and not liking one another. And then Wolverine shows up, so Scott's kind of jealous of the guy, and you know, Professor X, he's hooks up with Moira again. But she doesn't remember him. They go through that, and eventually he gives her memories back. Every storyline, and because of that, every character is underdeveloped. I mean, when I came into this movie, I thought we were going to be seeing like Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Nightcrawler, and Jubilee all becoming X-Men. But because they're going so fast, I didn't care. I didn't, get enough time with Jean Grey or Cyclops or Nightcrawler to be invested in them as X-Men. And Jubilee, holy shit, what the fuck? She shows up, it's like, hey, Jubilee. They go to the mall, they go back, the mansion gets attacked, and then they get hit by some soldiers, she gets knocked out, and that's basically all they did with Jubilee. And I will say that is the same with Psylocke. Olivia Munn, I was really looking forward to that character. I really like her as an actress. Wanted to see what she would do with the role, given a better role than she usually gets. And I'm not going to lie, she's an attractive woman, and she is wearing a very revealing costume. I was really looking forward to that. But you know what? I didn't get either of those. I didn't get to see Olivia Munn in that role doing something, or really get to enjoy her even as eye candy. Guilty pleasure. I'm sorry, Olivia, if you're listening and that offends you, but they didn't use you at all, and that made me mad. You could have been in like old-fashioned pilgrim dress the entire movie, but if they had given you lines and a storyline, explained Psylocke's motivations because he kind of seemed to want to be with Apocalypse, that would have been fine. Or just eye candy throughout, but they did nothing with her. And it kind of pisses me off because her, Jubilee, Storm too, the young Storm, they were a big part of the marketing apparatus. And they did jack shit with these characters. And that kind of makes me mad. Perfectly honest. There are a few other things like Wolverine, his cameo just seemed completely perfunctionary. Not even just gratuitous. It's like they didn't need him in that movie at all, but they think they need Hugh Jackman for all these movies. It wasn't in Deadpool. You could have given that brief little cameo to any other mutant we haven't seen yet, like Dazzler, the disco mutant. We haven't seen her yet. She could have been the one in the box. She breaks out. She's like, it's disco time, and hitting people with, lightning bolts, and that's how they escape, and that's the last we see of Dazzler in the movie. Instead, you just give it to Wolverine. Look, I know he's got another movie coming out, but yeah, like I said, another nitpick. It's like, why doesn't Moira remember Charles Xavier? I'm pretty sure the only memories he erased in First Class was the ones where where the mansion was. She should remember who he is. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. And then kind of a happy ending. It's like, Apocalypse, say what you want about him, he did fuck some shit up. It seemed like whole cities were disappearing, and then it's this kind of happy ending. It's like, whoa, he did 9/11 times 9/11. I mean, the world's just going to be in a pretty shitty condition. And paranoid as fuck, seeing how he took all the nuclear missiles away, which were still floating up in the space. Like, do you have any mutants who could go up there and get them? I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, but let's get into rating, how I rated this movie. Well, my new rating format is very simple. Instead of getting stars, based on the things I'm like, I'm going to see how much of my money I thought was well spent on. So, first off, it did have some cool action scenes. So I'll give them 75 cents for that. Now, I did like the stuff with Quicksilver. You know, the new Quicksilver scene where he's zooming around, where everything else is in slow motion. I mean, yes, they did it the first time they showed him. This one, kind of the same thing, but there's a twist that he wasn't able to save everyone this time. So, I'll give them a $1.25 for that. Now, I mentioned a cameo I didn't like, Wolverine, but I thought Stan Lee had a decent cameo as playing a guy looking up the sky and seeing the, basically the end of the world. I thought it was pretty convincing. You know, usually he does comedy in his cameo scenes, but I was kind of convinced that he was a guy nervous about seeing everything come to an end. So for the Stan Man, I'm going to give that 50 cents. And I mentioned Quicksilver before. There's also the storyline of him realizing that Magneto is his father. Like any of the other plot developments, because of the fast pacing, completely underdeveloped, there was a very decent Singer level scene that I liked, and that was when he's about to say to Magneto, "I'm your son," but he stutters it because maybe he's nervous, or maybe he's emotional. And I thought that was a very good way to handle that. You know, Singer probably said, no, what would they actually do in this situation? He figured the guy would not be able to say that he was Magneto's son, so I'm going to give that a decent $1.75. And let's add that up. And we are looking at 425 and a 650. Also, I'm just going to say this scene that I really didn't like was when they went to see Return of the Jedi at the mall. Of course, it's just them walking out and talking about movie trilogies and how the third one sucked. Kind of a joke to Brett Ratner. And you know what? This movie was just as bad as his. So, that was a low blow, Singer. Low. And now, Brett, you're listening. Hey, don't feel so bad. Singer's made an X-Men movie just as bad as you.